KSR's Jack Pilgrim here with Zach Gagan after Kentucky's 77-52 victory over the Duquesne Dukes. Zach, we came from Drew Franklin's wedding. The reason why it's us hosting this instead of Drew is because we were at his wedding earlier this afternoon. An amazing time, beautiful ceremony. It was a blast. First off, we have to give a shout out to the man himself, Drew Franklin. Happy wedding day to him. Quick takeaways from Drew's wedding. What did you think of the ceremony and the brief festivities that we got to be a part of?
Yeah, we were only there for about 2 hours, but we got to soak in all the Franklin fun. We were at Harper Hall, Matt Jones's new wedding venue. If you're looking to get married, I think that's a pretty good spot in my opinion. Nice big band up top. They had booze and finger foods they were handing out. It was awesome. You had Drew Franklin shed a tear. I know some people had some bets on that, so you've either won or lost a lot of money there. What else happened there? What were
the drinks were fantastic. We had some nice pre-game hors d'oeuvres. The drinks were good.
Drew did get a shout out on SEC Network as well
awesome.
From Peter Burns, giving him a shout out for his wedding day. So we also got a KSR picture for the first time with everyone. We got the Louisville, the Nashville folks all together. So it was nice to finally get our squad pic coming to an Instagram account near you or to you
yeah.
Soon. Yes.
Yeah, good. Shout out to the KSR squad. We had a blast there. Shout out to Drew. Hope you guys, I hope you don't ever see this because this is your wedding night. You need to go enjoy yourself. I hope you're out at the bars or whatever you're doing right now. We are holding down the fort. We cut loose and we came to Rupp Arena where we got to see the 25-point win for Kentucky's second win of the season, led by, once again, Antonio Reeves and CJ Frederick for a second consecutive game, Zach. I'm starting to see a recurring theme here that I think we kind of have our go-to scorers, especially sharpshooters. Once again, they absolutely lit it up from deep.
Yeah, 8 of 13 from CJ and Antonio Reeves tonight. I think Kentucky officially has some makers on their team. Dagger throwers. Well, I'm not sure if they're dagger throwers yet. We haven't officially been in a situation to see that, but I feel pretty confident in those two whenever the ball is going up. It just seems like once they hit their rhythm, shots are just going up whenever they catch and shoot in transition, especially. They're really, really good. There was a nice little spurt, not nice, about a 10-minute spurt maybe in the second half where they were a little bit hesitant, but then Cal kind of got in their ears and they went back to firing. And when those two are really shooting and firing and Kentucky's running up and down the floor, they're really hard to beat. And we saw that tonight. And it helps when you've got a guy like Xavier Wheeler back in the lineup too. Yeah, pushing the pace. Cal said that 80 points is the sweet spot for this team. He wants a number that has not been touched. I think one time in the Calipari era has Kentucky averaged at least 20 three-point attempts, and Cal wants 25 per game, which is just out of this world. They've come close to start the year, especially in the exhibition slate. I think they had 24 against, or 25 or 26, whatever it was, against Missouri State, and then they followed it up with 24 in the season opener against Howard. They get a little bit short of that tonight, 19 attempts, and then Cal wants 80 points per game. They hit the 77-point mark. A big reason for that is obviously CJ Frederick and Antonio Reeves, the shooting effort, but a big part of getting to 80 points every game is Xavier Wheeler. He is back from his knee issue that kept him out the end of the exhibition slates and then to start the regular season. You can just tell a very clear difference in just the pace, the tempo. He was there, aggressive defensively. He was a disruptor. He was active, getting his hands loose, diving for loose balls. It's a great problem to have that when you have both Cason Wallace and Xavier Wheeler manning the backcourt. Yeah, and it wasn't admittedly Cason's best night out there, so you really got to see what it's like when maybe one of the guards isn't playing that well. You can have another one like Xavier come in and you know exactly what he's going to do. He had 11 points, 11 assists, 6 rebounds. I think he had 2 turnovers in just his 27 minutes off the bench. Himself and Cal even said after the game that he wasn't expecting to play that many minutes and that he took himself out for the first time ever. He said that'll be the last time he ever takes himself out because he was a little bit winded from running up and down the floor that much after sitting from the bench and watching from the sideline. But he even said that doing that, being able to see that perspective from the sideline, he didn't realize how fast UK actually plays. So it was kind of fun for him to actually get back in the groove and use that speed and actually put it on display. I'm sure watching from the sidelines helped him a little bit as well. But moving on to another injury that is not necessarily as good of a news is Mr. Oscar Shibwe.
Yeah, Oscar, before we move on to Oscar, I do want to just kind of acknowledge that there was kind of the back and forth with Cason and Xavier that I think Kentucky fans, and even some media members, they get carried away because I got to see Cason with my own 2 eyes in the recruiting circuit. I know how good Cason Wallace is and the winner that he is, the winning mentality that he brings. He is, does all the dirty work, dives for loose balls, gets the blocks. He had one in transition today that, made me jump out of my seat, Zach. It was incredible. Like you said, it wasn't his best best performance, but even in his not great performance, he still has 8 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, a block, all around effort. And there kind of becomes this kind of back and forth narrative with, it's like you want the new, fresh, hot thing, the new sexy thing. All
right, Ryan Lemon.
But still, it's just that new, fresh factor that you want to, create controversy where there's not any there. And I think it's time to just take a step back and realize, okay, it's a great thing that we have both of them. It doesn't have to be a back and forth or, is it him versus him? Why can't we have both? We got to see the value that Kaysen brings as a multi-dimensional, versatile, play 1 through 3 type of talent who plays very well alongside a ball-dominant guard in Xavier Wheeler. So before we move into the Oscar part, I did kind of want to take a step back and go, it's a very good thing. Let's appreciate that we have them both instead of having to go against either of them. We saw, Kaysen could have gone to Tennessee. That was Kentucky's main competitor on the recruiting circuit. And then we took Xavier from Georgia. So I'm just very glad that we don't have to go against either of them. And it's just a darn shame that other teams have to go against them because I personally wouldn't want to do that. So,
well, just think about the whole 4-guard lineup in general. You've got guys that can kind of cover every spot. You're always going to have a good defender on the floor. You're always going to have a shooter on the floor with the guards. Xavier, obviously.
Yeah.
Whatever.
He knocked one. He knocked one 3 down today.
He did. Give him credit there. But you've got 3 other shooters around that can get the ball in the hoop. So just having those 4 guard. I love when Cal has these deep guard rotations, and he's got one right now. And it's really, especially when they're just running up and down the floor. These transition threes are perfect. Antonio and CJ feel like they've been playing together for years somehow. They have really good synergy. I'm not sure how they have developed that so far, but yeah, just the guard rotation in general is great. You're always going to have good defense at the point of attack, though. I think that we can, no matter what is happening with Xavier and Kaysen on offense, you know that their defense is going to be stellar.
And we got another kind of swaggy Cal quote where he was like, my guards are good. Like, I just have good guards. That's just kind of what happens. We play really well whenever we have good guards, and that's exactly what happened. You kind of cut you off talking about Oscar Tshiebwe. I did want to touch on that before. Oscar, not the best news from Cal, really not even news at all. The talk is, will he return for the Champions Classic matchup against Michigan State, a very physical, tough, hard-nosed type team.
Lost by 1 to Gonzaga tonight.
Very important matchup to keep a very close eye on, as UK will be playing both of those teams in the next week. We don't know if Oscar will be back, Zach, and I think that's, it's concerning because when you face off a physical, hard-nosed front court like Michigan State has, you want your National Player of the Year in the lineup, and it's still not very clear. He said that swelling could be an issue, that pain tolerance is still an issue. No definite answer quite yet, and I think that's, concerning considering that it was supposed to be a minor knee procedure when this happened a month ago. So he said in terms of surgery timeline, he's still a little bit in advance. He's still early on in that process. So ahead of schedule is the exact wording that he used. So that part is good, but it's still a month. And we are now approaching a very, very big matchup, Zach. Just your thoughts on the potential of missing him.
Yeah, Cal's exact words when he was asked if Oscar will play on Tuesday. The first 3 words he said were, "I don't know," and then kind of went into explaining it afterwards, and then capped it off at the end by again saying that he doesn't know. So I think if he's playing the old Cal trick that he has the last few years, maybe he's just not going to play and he's just kind of hiding it, or maybe he seriously doesn't know, and maybe Oscar, will be ready to go by the time Tuesday morning comes around. So we'll see. But what does help, obviously you want Oscar, but when you've got this guy, this 7-footer, Mr. Ugana Onyenso, do we even need Oscar Tshiebwe, Jack?
Who needs Oscar Tshiebwe? I kind of joked about it last time, and still joking, clearly. But when you have a guy like Ugo, who, looking at his stats, 9 points, 4 of 7 shooting, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks, 0 turnovers, and only 1 foul. So he's blocking shots without fouling. He's altering shots without fouling. Ugo is a guy, as we've said on this platform countless times, that he is just so far ahead of expectations of when he came in. They just kind of thought, it's a long-term project. We'll see how it is. But sometimes projects kind of get put together faster than others, and I think that's the case with Ugo. We saw the Duquesne head coach just flat out say, that kid is going to be making a lot of money someday.
That guy's going to make a lot of money. He's the newfangled. That's kind of what those centers in the NBA look like now. Run, jump, and then he changes the game. We told our guys, look, if you're not 100% sure, don't shoot it because it's coming back at you.
It's just it kind of sucks to think about that we saw him as this 3, potential 4-year project piece. And I think we're starting to slowly realize that might be the case. We heard a quote from Cal where, it's the kind of back and forth was, is he going to play over Lance Ware? Who's going to get the backup center minutes behind Oscar Tshiebwe? We got, for the first time, Cal bring up the possibility of Ugo playing alongside Oscar Tshiebwe. I don't personally love that idea. I think spacing would be a nightmare in that scenario. But the fact that we're even having this conversation, Zach, at this point in the season, how far ahead Ugo is and just the production that he's providing, I think that's the storyline.
I think every game as well, Ugo just kind of shows us something different. I think the first game he hit a 15-foot jumper that just barely went in, but it went in. Today he had a nice little jump hook from 5 feet or something around. Like he does something new every single time, and you're like, I didn't realize he could do that. Obviously the shot blocking just gets better and better. He had one where he just sent it right back in a guy's face. He's approaching Nerlens Noel territory of whenever he blocks the ball, he keeps it in bounds somehow. I'm not sure if he tries to do that or if he's been taught, but that's just kind of what he naturally does. They're effectively turnovers at that point. And he's really good at running the floor too. The offense, obviously, there's still some rawness there, but when Lance Ware isn't exactly putting up points either, we're already kind of getting to that point where it almost feels like Ugo is starting to trend a little bit above Lance. And as someone who is a Lance stan, and I'm a big
How can
fan.
you not be? How about Lance?
How about Lance? I do love him, and he provides and he does things that Ugo doesn't. He's a really good help defender. Lance Ware actually had 4 blocks tonight. Yeah. Something that people have not talked about. So there is things that Lance Ware will bring to the team that Ugo doesn't, and I think it might be a case-by-case thing kind of at the beginning of the year, especially once Oscar gets back, who's going to kind of get those 8 to 10 minutes that Oscar doesn't play. I think right now it's probably going to be Ugo, but it's a good problem to have, as you say.
And let's just play hypothetical here. Tuesday night, Champions Classic, college basketball's biggest, brightest stage. Ugonna Onyenso, Kentucky's starting center, who just arrived in America back in January, got to Kentucky's campus in late August, and now he might be Kentucky's starting center on arguably the biggest game of the season, just in terms of platform and how big it is. Every spotlight of, every eye in college basketball is on that game and that event to open the season. And Ugo might be Kentucky's starting center for that event. I can't even imagine what's going through his mind, but as Cal said, he just continues to take everything in stride, and he learns very quickly, and you only have to tell him things once, which is a very valuable trait. But I just can't imagine a kid that just got to America in January, and now, 11 months later, here he is.
I think he's going to have his Tyrese Maxey 30-point outing, Michigan State. I mean, it's all kind of lining up, right?
30 block, maybe. I don't see 30 points coming from Ugo, but I mean, shoot, he had basically a double-double with yet another dominant defensive performance on that end. I don't know, man. We're starting to see the breakthrough of Ugo, and it's just a fantastic development. Great, and I thought it was really interesting that Cal was asked, and he kind of took a step back and realized, there might be something too if Oscar doesn't get hurt and he doesn't go through this knee procedure. Do we ever see this breakout from Ugo to start the year at minimum? And I think that's something that we kind of need to take a step back and realize, where it's like, as disappointing as it is that we're missing Oscar, and it could result in a very, who knows what's going to happen against Michigan State if you don't have Oscar, but this has kind of created a new opportunity for this team, and you want guys to step up when their number is called, and when they have to step up in a new role, and the way Ugo has done that, I mean, just tip of the cap to that game.
Yeah, I think any other notes we should hit on? I want to point out that Adu did not play, kind of a consequence of Xavier coming back. What are some other notes that we need to? Chris Livingston he got a shout out from Cal as well. He
Battle on the glass. I do want to acknowledge very interesting post-game press conference from Jacob Toppin, who did not have a very, he underwhelmed quite a bit. 8 points, 4 of 12 shooting, 0 for 1 from 3, but he had 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block in 28 minutes. Uncharacteristic turnovers, Zach. Missed a lot of shots. He was really, really down on himself, just, kind of acknowledging, I work way too hard for this. I am in the gym. We heard from Cal at SEC Media Day, said that he's leading the team in shots and practice. They have the new state-of-the-art technology with the facial recognition that acknowledges Jacob Toppin works harder than everybody else in this gym. And I think he kind of had this moment talking to us after the game where he was like, I just don't get it. Why is this not translating to game action? So I think there's kind of this internal battle where he's really, really down on himself, Zach. And it was kind of something like, he's kind of taking this hard and he's going through something. And I kind of saw it as I'm going into this Champions Classic, this game against Michigan State with a mindset of, I'm going to go turn this around. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get back to where I need to be.
Yeah, if anything, that's how you want Jacob to respond. You don't want him to be happy about going 4 for 12 because, frankly, he did not play well tonight. He missed a lot of the shots that were kind of hoping that he is, talked about, that he's developed and that he's supposed to be knocking down. The spin move turnover is becoming almost a thing of his now. He just, every time he gets into a spin move with another guy coming, the ball just flies out. But he still had some good dunks. Like you said, he stuffed the stat sheet everywhere else. He's still a good defender. So I like the fact that he was pissed off at himself and kind of down, and hopefully he uses that as, fuel, because clearly he's better. We all know that Jacob is better than 4 for 12, or we hope he is. So, I think just give him some time, and that's that's what I want to see. You want a guy to be upset, I think.
Keep a close eye on Jacob Toppin Tuesday night against Michigan State. I think he kind of has that killer instinct of, I've kind of been sucking it up a little bit. I'm gonna go out there and look to make a statement on the big stage. One last note before we get out of here. It's very late. They're gonna close the lights out on us, and the cleaning ladies and everybody, they're all out and about and all that. So before we get out of that, I do want to kind of acknowledge that it's signing. The early signing period is here. We already got 3 signatures in. Rob Dillingham, Reed Shepard, and Justin Edwards are officially in. Aaron Bradshaw is kind of in, but, kind of keep it quiet. The big last name, DJ Wagner, is expected to make his college decision on Monday. A highly, highly, highly anticipated. Has been UK versus U of L from the very beginning. We've been waiting for this big moment to and this leads right into the Champions Classic on Tuesday. Zach, how excited are you to see what we expect a very pro-Kentucky decision?
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Aaron and Mr. DJ are signing their letters side by side there, or doing the ceremony or what have you side by side there at Camden High School. So it looks like Calipari's about to lock up his best class, and I'd say probably 5 years. DJ is just kind of the finishing piece. So 3 down, 2 to go. We're looking good. The future is we're just grooving right now.
Nothing Cal does is on accident. When you have all eyes, as we said, all eyes on you in the Champions Classic, there's a reason that you want your Nike's newest baby. They've been promoting him every chance they can. There's no secret that, and there's no...
Is Louisville a Nike school?
No.
Okay.
There's not. And nor did Kenny Payne hire any, they hired Nike tie individuals and didn't go with the Adidas very just bizarre decisions on that end. And it will result in a big L, just like they took against Bellarmine in their season opener. Nice. So be prepared for DJ to sign with Kentucky on Monday. Very excited for that. And then be prepared for the Champions Classic in Indianapolis against Michigan State. Jack Pilgrim, Zach Gagan here with Kentucky Sports Radio. We are out.